Coming up in today's video, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about a variety of stories surrounding AEW. We got a huge debut happening next week on Dynamite, 2 potential names. Also, we got to talk about it. Andrade, some signing details, what happened with WWE, tons of new reports there. And a former WWE and TNA wrestler, he's in AEW ROH. It's coming up right here on The Angle Show. If you guys want more videos like this, as always, don't forget to click that subscribe button, ring that bell. This way you never miss a video on the channel. I'm going to keep you guys updated along the way every single day with new videos. And that kicks us off with Shannon Moore. Okay, probably unexpected, but it is true. Shannon Moore made his AEW Ring of Honor debut. And this is at the tapings with Dynamite. And I'm not going to spoil the match. I'm not going to spoil who it was against. I'm not going to tell you guys who won. I'm not going to do any of that. But I do want to say, Shannon Moore wrestling in 2025 is intriguing to me. I'm going to explain why. Because maybe you guys know this, maybe you guys don't. But growing up watching wrestling, obviously you watch WCW, you watch the Attitude Era. Obviously, Shannon Moore is a longtime vet of this business. But what was always interesting to me, especially when I think of Shannon Moore, I always think of Shannon Moore that would occasionally be on WWE Velocity, of all places. It's just how it was growing up. I was really big into Saturday Night Velocity. I was really big into Sunday Night Heat. Obviously, Shannon Moore being part of the Cruiserweight division. It's really interesting to think about all of these years later, Shannon Moore getting in the ring and wrestling for AEW Ring of Honor. Now, at this time, we don't know if this is a situation where he has, in fact, signed with the company. I don't know if there was any official statement from Tony Khan. I didn't see one. But Tony Khan has been doing this for AEW and Ring of Honor, where he will bring back, people from back in the day. We saw Crowbar. Now we're seeing Shannon Moore. I mean, there's a lot of other examples, but the reason why I find it fascinating is because there is a little bit of a benefit to this. Now, obviously, the one thing you have to consider with veterans in the business, man, they experienced it all. They experienced it all. And so the reason why I kind of like stuff like this, they've seen the ups, they've seen the downs. They know the struggles of being a professional wrestler, and they've lived it, and they've been through it. And this is an opportunity where, hey, maybe occasionally you wrestle once in a while. But I would like to see Tony Khan do this more, where he actually signs them to coach deals or like producer deals or whatever, because you don't have a performance center. Some of these young guys, they don't know necessarily how to work TV wrestling. You sign veterans and it kind of helps them. That brings us to Andrade. He shocked the world this past Wednesday. Andrade showed up in AEW. He is the first wrestler to get fired from WWE, go to AEW, leave AEW, go back to WWE, get fired from WWE, and sign back with AEW. He made history. He went after Kenny Omega. That was obviously very cool. I think there's been a lot of issues here that a lot of people don't really seem to understand. So PWInsider.com came out and reported that Andrade was fired from WWE for multiple wellness violations throughout the year in WWE. So let's kind of break that down for a second. A lot of people thought Triple H wasn't booking Andrade. A lot of people thought WWE was kind of putting Andrade on the back burner. It turns out he was just getting in trouble a lot, allegedly for failed wellness policy tests. Now, does that mean he actually failed the test? No, I mean, technically not, because if you refuse to take a test, that also counts as a failure. We don't know the specific details. PWN also confirmed what PW Insider was talking about. So then Andrade comes back to AEW. This would explain why Andrade did not have a 90-day no non-compete clause, because he was straight up just fired. Like, he wasn't given a release. WWE wasn't going to pay him for 90 days. They just let him go, knowing damn well he probably would go to AEW. So AEW brings in Andrade. It makes a lot of sense for AEW to do this because, well, AEW is going to do what AEW does. I tweet about this. I think a lot of people are expecting me to hate Andrade individually. No, I don't. I think Andrade is a talented guy. There was things in WWE that I genuinely enjoyed. I was very confused by him and Rey Fenix becoming a tag team, but it somewhat became a very enjoyable thing for me to watch. Now he comes to AEW. joins the Don Callis family. I personally am not a big fan of this whole thing of Don Callis family, but they add him to the group. Andrade joins the company, signs a multi-year deal with the company. Listen, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. You cannot sit here and say Triple H fumbled Andrade. You cannot sit here and blame WWE if a guy is failing wellness policies. You know what I'm saying? You just can't. Like, at that point, that's not a WWE issue, just like it wouldn't be an issue for AEW. It doesn't matter with the three letters of the company. I think, genuinely speaking, Andrade is responsible for Andrade. If he failed those tests, he failed those tests. Whatever the details are behind that, that's, it is what it is. I think Andrade being in AEW, to me, it's like, at this point, we've seen him in NXT. We've seen him on the main roster. We've seen him in AEW. We've seen him back in WWE. We've seen this. I mean, what's going to make this run very different from all the others? And that's what I really don't know. I really don't know what to think here. I genuinely am just shocked, but we'll see what happens. And that brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. We know Mercedes Moné is going to have a new opponent next week for the TBS Championship. Now, who could it be? It has to be someone from Florida, and it obviously has to be a fresh new opponent, and that's where Dakota Kai comes into the mix. Dakota Kai is potentially joining AEW because, according to a new Q&A session from Fightful Select, Dakota Kai has recently had new ring gear made. She also made some comments on her Twitch stream that indicated that she is getting ready to get back in the ring. And there is this rumor that Dakota Kai is set for a deal with AEW and Stardom. So there is this belief where we could potentially see Dakota Kai wrestle for both companies, which would make a lot of sense. AEW has done this thing before where companies or where wrestlers under the company could kind of work for multiple companies. Dakota Kai is rumored for that. Now, another one that's very interesting is Sari, who we used to see in NXT, but also came from Stardom. And she is somebody who, she's honestly, I think she might even still live in Florida. I'm not 100% confirmed on that, but she's also technically another person. But listen, AEW is basically, I would be very, very shocked here if it's not Dakota Kai joining AEW. Now, people are going to be probably pissed at me for saying this, but the truth is she should go to AEW. If there was ever a time for Dakota Kai to go to AEW, it's right now. The women's division is getting better. The blood and guts thing is starting to happen now. Like, we're actually starting to see women become well booked in AEW. It's not perfect by any means, but perfection doesn't exist anywhere. So I give a lot of praise to AEW and what they've improved here. Now, with that being said, I just want to throw this out there. I think with Dakota Kai, she goes to AEW, she kills it with Mercedes. It's amazing. AEW lets her do some other things, plus she's got her Twitch. I think this is a win-win. I really don't see an issue with it. Obviously, we'll see what happens, but I think more than likely this is the person who is debuting next week. There's just too many coincidences, and sometimes those coincidences are, they're left out in the wilderness for people to kind of like pick up on. I think this would be a good thing. I support it. Let me know what you guys think down below.